Welcome to the Take a Listing Today podcast, where our hosts Jim Studebaker and Todd Robertson give you strategies to get you out of the office right now so you can take a new listing today. And now, here's Jim and Todd.
Hello, once again, the Take a Listing Today podcast. Welcome to podcast number 52. So this is, what did we come up with, Lisa? This is the end of the year or the beginning of the next year?
The end of the year.
The end of the year. So this is our end of the year show. So thank you for being with us once again. And as always, there's Todd Robertson.
Hey, thank you guys for watching and tuning in today. You're in for a treat.
And of course, in the corner, as she has been for the last year, Lisa Gray.
Lisa Gray. Boom. She's ready. Better. She's ready. She's full of energy and fire today.
Nice. Well, welcome to our podcast. Be sure to visit our website, takealistingtoday.com, to learn about our upcoming shows and to join us for a future podcast where you might be live on the air to win some great prizes. And speaking of a prize, we have a prize for you today in our topic. It is one more top market to go after. We mentioned a great market recently. If you've been keeping up with our podcast, we have another great market, the absentee owners. So last week, we discussed the first in our series, the high-income renters. Now we're going to look at absentee owners. Did you know there are about 8 million individual landlords in the United States, those who typically own between 1 and 10 properties? And that's some fine research by Diana Olick at CNBC.com. Landlords manage half the rental properties in the United States with 48 million tenants. Many of these landlords bought their properties between 2012 and 2014. Now, the big guns, the institutional investors, bought them as well, but almost half of those properties were purchased by individual landlords, the old mom and pop investors.
Exactly. And as you're listening and watching right now, think of this strategy or this system that we're going over today, like the following. So I listened to a podcast 2 days ago just for entrepreneurs. A lot of them own many businesses. So think for you, you're a realtor, right? You have one business, but multiple streams of income. So this right here can be one of those streams. Your past client centers of influence, your for sub owners, maybe a piece of geography. Today, we're going over absentee owners. And think of it this way, truthfully, 90% or more of your competition is not prospecting these people.
Not at all. They never even thought about it.
Right.
So this is a great niche to get involved with. So hear this. In 2018, the share of small investor activity in the housing market soared to 60%, according to CoreLogic's Home Investor Report. Most of the homes the smaller investors buy are starter homes, which are huge demand right now in the current market, as you might know. These investors are prime targets for listing opportunities. So, who is your ideal audience? It is the landlords who bought investment properties between 2012 and 2018.
And think about it this way, right? So they don't live there, so that means they don't, or for the most part, they don't have a friend in the business or know somebody, right? Because in a general marketing sense, outside of a family member or friend or a referral, marketing is going to win. Well, think about this. So wherever they live, no one's prospecting them, so their mind isn't muddied up. So this is like surgical prospecting in my mind.
Cool term.
Yeah, that is a cool term. Surgical prospecting. Let's put that on the T-shirts. Have we ordered those yet?
That'll be on the ProspectsPLUS.
On the list.
The gift shop online.
The gift shop,
right.
with all the Plus Men stuff, right?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Sounds great. So, why do absentee owners want to sell right now? What are their pain points? Well, let us lay that out for you right now. The old COVID-19 pandemic created a perfect storm of unemployment, closed businesses, government financial rescue programs. That means landlords are not seeing that cash flowing down to them. The biggest pain point right now is how without their rental income, they're going to make the mortgage payments without begging their mortgage companies for forbearance and facing a huge payment when it's all over. And that's if they even qualify for some type of forbearance program. Listen to this. In California alone, it's estimated that 85%, that's an 8 and a 5, 85% of tenants can't pay their rent during the month of May of this year, according to SpectrumNews1.com.
That is crazy.
That news site also claims that banks don't have any obligation to help landlords. Even if they are granted a forbearance, there are other expenses involved in owning a rental property, obviously, such as maintenance. Frighteningly? How do you say that?
Frighteningly.
Frightening.
Or substitute scaringly.
Frightening.
Scaringly. Can we say that?
Say lightning and then put an F on it. Frighteningly.
Lightning?
Like lightning, but frightening. Frighteningly.
That's not what it says. Frightening is easy. This says frightening, and then there's another ly on it.
Frighteningly.
Sadly, or we could use sadly.
Sadly.
Nearly 60% of small landlords said they did not have access to any lines of credit that may help them in an emergency. And according to the March survey conducted by Avail, a rental platform software company. So think about this, that during this pandemic, during the scare and the fear, so many people got exposed, even landlords.
Yes.
Even businesses that maybe didn't have 3 months or 6 months of money to carry them. Mm-hmm. So a lot of great lessons here that we've learned as kids. And then you look modern day, a lot of businesses didn't have any staying power.
Right.
So these landlords, a lot of them were in the same boat, and even worse, if they're just sitting on covering 2 to 3 to 5 mortgages.
And that's a big problem when you've got several properties out there and you've got a lot of tenants who can't pay their bills now because they're out of work.
Right.
Well, thankfully, you can help these people. That one I could pronounce.
Yay.
It's safe to say that the landlords who bought their properties at the bottom of the market after the Great Recession and haven't borrowed against them are sitting on a ton of equity right now. And the facts all bear that out.
Alcinia.
We had this discussion during our pre-show meeting today. These names in here. Alcinia?
Yeah.
Miss
Perfect.
Lloyd at housingwire.com claims that the average real estate investors who bought their properties in 2012 have seen their home equity climb by 261%, which pencils out to an average of $141,000 in equity. Now, imagine being the one who delivers news like this to the landlords who are going deeper and deeper into debt the longer this pandemic wears on.
And not only that, right, and we've discussed this in previous podcasts, that the two big major markets out there are millennials and baby boomers. So who's going to be the absentee owners? It's going to be the baby boomers. So some of them are getting up there in age. They don't live in that state, more of a hassle. In addition to these factors you just read off, more of a hassle for them. So a lot of them are wanting to unload the property.
Unload, and especially if they've got a lot of equity in it, put some cash in their pocket.
Exactly.
All right.
Get an RV and go enjoy this scenery.
Yeah, exactly. The beach. Don't drive your RV on the beach, maybe, because it might sink in the sand.
Right. Keep it in the
But you
park,
take your RV to the parking lot of the beach, and then you
Right.
can shower off in your own comfort RV bathroom. Right?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
No, our RV bathroom's really that comfortable and luxurious for showering.
Well, when you take off your bathing suit at the shower outside, it causes a commotion. So we
Just sit on the toilet and pull the shower.
Okay. I think her caffeine soda kicked in now.
Uh-oh. Can we move on from here, please? All right.
Thank God for sound effects.
Let's get back on track here, please. Okay.
And the crowd goes mild.
So what is the best approach? Other investors find the absentee owner niche quite lucrative. Because of this, there's a very good chance that your prospects will have received at least one yellow letter from an investor or a flipper. Now, the yellow letter, in case you don't know what it is a direct mail piece that's either written by hand or created to appear handwritten on a sheet of yellow lined paper that we call a legal pad. The technique supposedly brings results for those investors, which is why so many of them use it, which is fine.
And think about this, whatever prospecting system or strategy that you're going to use, consistency is the whole key. We're going to talk about this more in a second here, but don't just do this one time and say, oh, that was dumb, that didn't work. That's what I did in Bakersfield, California, right? So I did 2 mailers, didn't get anything. That was dumb, that didn't work. Knocked on doors 2 times. That was dumb, that didn't work.
2 doors or just 2 times?
2 times. I was a
2 doors
scared
were
realtor.
done. Okay.
2 doors going, oh, geez, I'm going to happy hour now. That was terrible. But my point of telling you this is, 2 doors would have been the same result. But I drove by this area 6 months later, an area I loved, I wanted to own, I wanted to dominate it. And because I didn't have any consistency, I look back and I see 8 or 9 different signs. You drive back 6 months later, all different signs. You're like, are you kidding me? Those should have been my signs, but I didn't play consistent. Yeah. So if you're going after this market segment, and whatever market segment you're going after, consistency has to be the key because your competition is not playing like that.
Well, and when you think about it, a yellow legal pad with scratch on it.
Right.
I mean, how many times was this tested by investors before they realized somebody did this just as like, grab this piece of paper, throw it at them. And then they started realizing, wait a minute, this is working. Probably because many people aren't going after absentee owners. But still, that was repeated 27 times.
Exactly.
Different investors. Now it's a thing, an actual thing that.
Well, and the yellow pad, right? I mean, for investors, let's say 3 of us were thinking about buying that house or that building. We're going to get out a yellow pad and scratch numbers.
Right.
You know, how much rent can we get? Boom, boom, boom. So yellow pad's already in their mind.
Right. Yeah. No, that was just tested over time.
So
that's how they figured that.
There's a lot of people doing the yellow pad, so our listeners probably should not do the yellow pad, right?
No, because it's unprofessional.
And it's harder for them to do. We're going to make it easier for our listeners. That's harder.
Absolutely.
So don't be unprofessional. Be consistent.
Yes.
But here's the question entering all of our viewers' minds right now. I can hear it right now. Where are we going to get a mailing list of these people? Well, conveniently, our sponsor, ProspectsPLUS.com of Bradenton, Florida, has for you a tool called Map My Mail. And you can do a lookup of absentee owners right on that website. Now, if you decide you don't want to use a letter to introduce yourself, there are several other approaches to consider. An absentee owners series postcard, of course, is the easiest that you could do. Perhaps a CMA, which includes a photo of the home's exterior in the letterhead to make it super impressive. An absentee owner direct response report titled Advice for Cash-Strapped Landlords. Or just do all of the above because they are all available on ProspectsPLUS.com.
Well, and I just want to reiterate something when you were talking about that awesome tool on Prospects Plus, Map My Mail. You said look up, and yes, you can look up. You can build that list. You can purchase that list. So I just want to make sure they understand that it's not just a tool, a resource to see something.
Right.
You purchase it there. You don't have to purchase anything with it. You can purchase it alone. But of course, when you're in there, we have, or the Prospects Plus has absentee owner series that are phenomenal. The copy is targeted, the headline is targeted right at those absentee owners. Grab those postcards, grab your list, you've got your campaign, boom, it's out, and you're on doing other things.
Right, and what you said is so important. So what Lisa just brought up is this, is that we seriously, whether you call our number and you talk to one of our people, if you want a list, right, we're going to help you secure this list and help you marry it with a postcard and get it out. I spoke with a young lady yesterday that's talking about Market Dominator, owning a piece of geography, and we're sitting there chatting, and she was at her office, and I just asked her, what campaigns do you have in place? What are you doing marketing-wise? She goes, well, on the floor over here, I've got 500 postcards that I haven't done anything with. So, I mean, think about that. People are buying stuff and trying to do it on the cheap or to save money, put it in the corner, and they never get around to it, right?
Those cards on the floor don't do much good, do they?
No, it's kind of like the old saying, 1 for the money, 2 for the show, 3 to get ready, 4 to get ready, 5 to get ready. They never go, right?
Wow, that's sad.
Yeah, and that's for real.
Collateral sitting there.
Yeah.
But you got to go. Don't buy postcards and have them sit on your floor. Buy postcards and have Prospects Plus send them out for you. That way you don't even see it, the postcards. They just go out.
Exactly.
That's
And here's really what that sets you up to do. It sets you up to win at the highest level. Why? The best realtors in the country get paid to do 2 things: prospect and go on appointments.
Right.
So if you have a company that can handle this, boom, 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 done. You don't even have to see it, touch it. It's handled.
Right.
There's some magic in that.
Right. You know, Todd, I wanted to ask you were talking about the person you were on the phone with. Was that Market Dominator customer?
Yes.
Because I know you've talked about the fact that when they have a carrier route, they actually consider pursuing absentee owner. Would this be a great market for this? I mean, it is a form of a farm.
So great point. So with our highest level product, our 2-year listing campaign called Market Dominator, it's based on a carrier route, okay, a piece of geography. And that is a concern for a lot of agents out there thinking, well, let's say like in Arizona or where we are in Florida, other places throughout the country, they're like, well, I have a lot of absentee owners, so I do love that route, but now we can solve that. So now they can, now here's your carrier route, you're marketing within there, and you're still surgically marketing in ways like this that I mean, it's going to put your competition, I mean, their heads are going to spin, really.
So they're getting that absentee owner list for that carrier route, and they're hitting them both. They're getting them at their addresses, and then they're getting the people within the route.
Correct. And right now we're doing a promotion for our Market Dominator people that sign up from here to the end of July, to where we're going to make this happen for them free, their first 100.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to put information in the link about
Okay.
that in the
Okay.
show notes, because that's really important.
Excellent.
Sweet. So now we can all agree that we have decided on a direct mail campaign to get to
Yes.
these absentee owners. So now that you've done that, the next step is to schedule the direct mail Stay in Touch campaign. It doesn't matter if your touches are monthly, quarterly, as long as they are consistent, like you mentioned earlier, Todd. Don't give up if you don't hear back from these prospects after the first few mailings, because they're kind of feeling out the waters and seeing, oh, how's this going to go? And then eventually they're going to say, wait a minute, this might be a great idea to look into selling.
And they realize, wow, this person's not going away. They're for real.
That's right. They are for real. So right now, many absentee owners, they're second guessing their roles. Many are quite motivated to get out from under the financial burden that they are in. Their pain points are very real, very urgent, and you offer the ideal analgesic.
Very good.
No, geez.
Did I say that right?
Jim's only been working on that
You
word for
said it.
45 minutes since the production show.
You said it frighteningly correct.
Frightening. Did I say sell now? I don't remember if I got to that. That's the painkiller. Sell now. Okay.
You see how much
Sweet.
fun we have? Hey, it's been 1 year. We're allowed to have fun on our
That's
52nd
right. Show
episode,
52, huh? Do we set off the confetti now or on next week's show?
Well, both.
Both?
Oh,
Because
both.
that'll be kicking off the new show. So we're
All right.
We're celebrating.
Cue the confetti.
Confetti.
All right.
All over the beach. Look at that. Whoa. Someone's got to clean that up off the beach there,
right.
Jim. The sand. Yep.
Well, we're going to go before the police show up here to kick us off the beach because we're littering. But that is our show for today. Hopefully you learned everything about targeting those absentee owners. And don't forget, today's podcast is brought to you by ProspectsPLUS, featuring the great products we discussed today, the postcard. So be sure to visit their website at ProspectsPLUS.com and search for absentee owners, and you will be able to dominate that market. Thank you for joining us, and see you next week.
Stay powerful. Bye-bye.